Imagine never dreading Mondays and waking up every day excited to get to work. That can happen when you have your dream business, but how do you get there? In this video, I talk with wellbeing coach Danny Evergreen and brand designer Laura Robinson. We talk about our own experiences on building businesses that we love. You'll find some great tips on things to look out for and ways in which you can work towards building your dream business. I'm Laura Bean and this is Creative Little World.
So we are here today to talk about dream businesses. Have we got our dream businesses? Are we aiming and are we moving forward to finding our dream businesses? And it's a great topic. It's what every entrepreneur starts their business. So what is your dream business? Have you both got your dream businesses, or is entrepreneurship what you thought it would be? What do you reckon then, Laura?
Well, I don't think I'm not quite there with my dream business. But I did have a feeling like today being Friday going, oh, it's the weekend. And I used to be like, oh, come on, Friday, hurry up. And I had that realization that actually I'm a bit like, I was quite into that. I got into my week. I wouldn't mind it being a bit longer. And I suppose from the sense of, although, yes, there's still things I want to achieve and places I want my business to go, but there is an element of the dream of I'm loving what I'm doing. And there's definitely had to take a moment and take stock and go, wow, actually it's really nice to finish on a Friday and be a bit like, oh, I wish the week was still going, and then comes to Monday and be like, oh, I'm ready for quite excited to get to your desk. And so there's a big shift in that for me, where I've changed things over the last year and shifted things and made changes that I've gone, well, actually, I'm loving it, which is a big part of the dream, isn't it?
So have you got is this the dream that you started with? Is your business, so your vision in your mind before you started your business, are you close to it, or has the dream changed and evolved since you started being an entrepreneur?
It's definitely changed and evolved. I'm not close to what I dream and where I'm building the new business, the Creative Little World business. That's still got a long way to go before it's where I want it to be, but it's fairly new. So I'm at the moment, I'm in that excited phase of, sometimes it's the journey, isn't it, rather than the destination. And I'm enjoying discovering how that can go and what I can do with it. So at the moment I'm in the fun sort of play zone, I guess, of the dream and where I want it to go. And it evolves all the time. And I think that's, I have a vision of what I want my life to be. But a big part of that is being happy. And at the moment I am quite happy with how things are going. And there's obviously improvements to make and certain elements that would make life a bit easier. But when I think back to what I was like before, even, a year ago, there's definitely been movement towards the dream. And that's something to feel positive about, I think.
So is this a stumbling block, Danny? Do people have a dream and then end up not? I suppose it's a bit of procrastination. They don't actually go for the dream. Do you find that with some of your clients, or is it all people are just goal setting and trying to achieve the next goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely there's a large proportion of people that have dreams and ideas that they just never really follow because it feels a bit too scary. And we probably all have done something in the past where we've had an idea or we thought about something and we haven't followed through on it. And because maybe we thought, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Or maybe it's not the right time or whatever. And sometimes those decisions might be right. But I think there's definitely an element of sitting with kind of what we know and that fear of making a change. And for some people, they might want to start a business and have a brilliant idea, but then they doubt whether or not they're really capable of doing it. So they maybe stay in employment because it seems safer because we kind of know what we're doing. Or you jump into starting your business and then, like you say, you start off with an idea And either we get distracted and other kind of shiny things pop up and we move in that direction, or things maybe don't go quite to plan and we start to doubt whether the big dream is really possible. So I think it's very common. I mean, my dream has changed a lot in terms of what I thought I would be doing. I mean, I was a professional dancer, dance teacher for many years. And when I started getting more interested in coaching initially to help my dance and fitness clients at the time. And then the more I got into it, the more I realized that I really loved it. And I've always taught in some way. I've always worked with children. I've taught adults, and I love that side of things. And for a long time, I kind of forgot that. And I got very focused on coaching. And it wasn't until quite recently that I realized that I want to do a lot more training work and workshops, because that's something I really love. But when I moved from letting go of like dancing being, which felt like my identity, it felt like I was letting go of a dream. And it was like, oh, well, what if I don't carry on doing the dancing? Have I failed? But actually, the big dream for me was never really dancing. That was great and I loved it. But my big dream was always about having a family and having a certain kind of lifestyle. So have I got my dream business yet? No, because I'm still figuring out what that is, I think. But a big part of the decisions I make in terms of how I run my business are about the kind of life I want to have and being able to have children and be present for them and that kind of thing. So I think it's about identifying what really matters to you and then how you build your business around that, and then having the confidence to kind of to follow it.
Yeah, I think it's really important to check in with your dreams, because like you say, I'm a magpie, shiny syndrome. I'm like, oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? And I want to jump on that and I want to do that. And I think I definitely feel like I have to make sure I check in and I make sure I go, right, is this actually aiming me towards the right dream? Is this actually getting me that one step closer? And I think this year, definitely, I've took more time to make sure I'm getting to that next step of my dream and the next step of my dream business. And just keep on making sure I check in with the plan, check in with my goal, mute the people that are distracting me. I think because obviously we've all got, coaches and we've all got support and stuff. And I think sometimes we can take on other people's dreams of what they think our business should be like. And it's realizing that actually, no, that isn't for me, and backing out of things. It's a real sort of struggle in some ways to try and keep it.
It's the noise, isn't it? And I think the way the world is now, because it's so online and there's a lot more like communities and things, places to join. I've been in mastermind groups, and obviously these things are really helpful for your business, and you can share challenges and get some support and help. But sometimes, I've been on calls where people are telling me, oh, you need to do this with your business. You need to take it this way. This is where the money's at. You need to do that. And I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't want to do that for my business. Like, that's not how I see it going. And it's not just about making money. Obviously, that's a huge part of it, but I don't want to make my money in that way. That's not how I want to do it, because then I know I won't have joy in running that business because it's doing something I don't want to do. And I watched a YouTube video of someone who said that they were giving up their business, stepping away from it because it didn't bring them joy and they wanted to go a different direction. And I think that's the danger when there's a lot of noise and a lot of people out there and these big communities and groups. Like, everyone has an opinion, but it's still got to be right for you and align with what you want. And I remember one of the guys in one of the masterminds saying himself, he'd sat in this mastermind group and everyone had told him how he should be, or they thought he should be running his business. And at the end he went, thanks very much, not doing any of that, because he's like, it didn't align with what I wanted to do. So I think that's really important, like, to get the advice and, obviously, especially with business mentors and stuff, get advice on how to get to your dream, but make sure it's still your dream that you're aiming for and not someone else's.
You've got to stay true. You got to stay true to yourself. Sorry. Yeah, you got to stay true to yourself. Like I was just watching it, another brand designer, and she confessed she called it burnt her business down because she was attracting the wrong clients. She wasn't, it wasn't bringing her happiness. She was stressed out. So she completely burnt her business down and started rebuilding it. And I'm thinking, 4-5 years into your business, and that is how you feel, then you lost the dream somewhere. So Danny, how do we keeping the dream in our minds? How do we, as a business, try not to lose ourselves in all the noise?
Yeah, I mean, I think I really resonate with what you've both said. And I think it's very easy to get distracted. And there's so much out there that, help out there, which is great. But I think it's about coming back to that dream and having something that helps you to connect to it. So that could be a photo. It could be that you have your kind of goal or your mission statement written somewhere that you see it often, something that reminds you what it is you want to work towards and what the dream is, so that when you're making those decisions and when you're looking at that help and that advice that's out there, you go, hang on a minute, is this in alignment with the dream? Does this suit me? Because, all of that advice is brilliant for the right business and for the right person. But actually, if I do that, is it going towards my goal? And I think there's an element of trial and error. When you're starting out, when you're trying something new, you don't always know what will work for your business and what you will enjoy. Different types of marketing, networking, etc. Some people will love it and it will work brilliantly for you. And then for you, you might try it and think, this is not for me. So I think it's having that willingness to give it a go, but also that courage to go, this isn't working for me. This isn't for me. Thank you very much for your opinions and your advice, everyone. But actually, this is what's important to me. So it's connecting to that and having the confidence to really trust yourself. And I think the way that we do that is giving ourselves that time to connect to self, whether that's some mindfulness, whether that's reading, whatever it is that works for you, but really trusting in your decisions and trusting in your own kind of intuition, really, because it's very easy to hear all the voices. I've got so many people in my life, very well-meaning, that will go, oh, you should do this, you could do that. And I'm like, yeah, I could, but I'm not going to. Just because you can. And I always remind myself, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
There's loads of things I can do, but I can't do them all. So I've got to pick. And I think that's what, just reminding yourself, like, what are you choosing? Because every choice you make, you're moving towards something and you're moving away from something else. So whether you're choosing to work weekends because you really want to grow your business fast, or whether you're choosing not to work weekends because you really want to spend time with your family, both are choices. Both are right for certain people. So, make the choice that is right for you, and try not to hear all the outside noise, because you're the only one who knows what's right for you.
And I think a lot of that is, what you say about using the weekend working for an example, is that, some people think it's really negative to work at the weekend. Oh, you shouldn't be, like, I can't believe, you've got to work at the weekend. And it's like, well, actually, I'm perhaps choosing to because I want to free up some time in the week, or I want to put some extra hours in on my business. And quite often I'll do that, pick my laptop off and, sit there and do some work at the weekend or in the evening. And it's not listening to like the outside world that's saying, it's about weekends that you should be doing that and spending it with your family or whatever. It's not like I'm choosing one or the other. I'm doing what's right for me and what aligns with what I want to do. So yeah, shutting out that noise and judgment. I think there's a lot of that around when someone's dream is money orientated. I think a lot of people, it's like we're not allowed to say, well, I want to make money. It's almost like a negative thing, isn't it? Like, you can't say that out loud. Oh no, I want to help people do X, Y, and Z, and I want to do this. And it's like, it's okay to, if you're working just to make money, if that's what
yeah,
what you want to do, and that's what drives you, then that's also okay.
Oh, I love saying that in a mastermind. What's your why? Money.
Yeah.
Lots of it, please.
No, but what's your real why? What's your real why? Like
get lots of cash.
Money.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to go and say, oh, it's my children and that. I'm like, no, I want money. I want to travel. And that is my why. Thank you very much. And that suits me. But both of you are true what you were saying about spreading yourself thin, because you try and do too much. And I think that's when a lot of people get disheartened in their business, is that they are trying to do too much instead of concentrating for 1 month, concentrate really hard. Because I've thinking of it, social media is a massive drain for a lot of clients, for mine and for me. I hate the thought of, oh, I've got to post what I've got to post, got to, action points and everything. And I think running your own business and being an entrepreneur, you don't actually realize how many different hats you're going to have to wear until you've got the money to outsource it. So when people go, oh, it must be a dream working for yourself, I'm think, yeah, but it's damn hard work as well. It is a dream. And like you say, working weekends, sometimes you do it just so you have a less stressful week because you've got so much on your list. Sometimes you do it because you, like you say, you're in a role and you want to carry on because you enjoy it. And it just because it's Friday, you can carry on because it's your own business. But yeah, what would you say has been something that you have to do in your dream business that isn't a dream? For me, it's the accountant side. We spoke about this before we started recording. Doing the accounts is something that isn't a dream for me, but it's something that's helping me with my dream business. So what are your guys? What's something you have to do that you think, I wish I didn't in this business, but it's part of the dream?
There you go first, Danny.
I think social media is a really good one. Would I post on social media if I wasn't using it for my business? Probably not very often. It's a great way of like staying in touch with people. I would definitely use it still to connect with friends, but I do feel like I need to show up and be seen a lot more than I would maybe choose to if I wasn't running a business. I think if I was working in employment and I just needed to go to work and I wasn't responsible for bringing in clients and growing the business, I probably wouldn't use social media hardly at all. So I think, yeah, social media is something I feel like I need to invest time and energy into, but would happily not if I didn't need to do it for my business.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I enjoy social media a lot more now than I did, and I think that's because I've again like made it how I want to make it. I want to do videos, and I forgive myself and say like, I'll post it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, I'm a lot more lenient and relaxed with it, so I am enjoying it a bit more. And I think the sales side, I guess, is the thing for me, and obviously that's a huge part of running your own business. And I think I always look at it in my previous freelance life. I split my freelance career into 2 parts, and the first one I had like set clients that I worked with, so I was I basically was full-time employed by 3 or 4 different people. And then when I decided I needed to sort of revamp, and that was no longer what I wanted to do, and then I started the copywriting business, and I was like, okay, great. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I've got to keep the clients coming in, and I love that part of it. But at the same time, the sales calls, and you have to get on to a proper sales call, and you're trying to sell yourself and what you can do. And weirdly, because being someone that works with words, you think I'd be better at it, but as soon as I'm actually like on the call face to face, like if we could just do it all by email, it could be fine, because I can sell myself when I'm writing it. But talking to people and that kind of element of it, when it's specifically for sales, I love calls generally. Like I like the one-to-one calls, but when it's someone perhaps has made an inquiry, I've not met them before, we're getting on a call, I don't know 100% what they need, and I can feel the panic set in a little bit then, when I'm thinking, oh God, I've got to sell myself, I've got to am I coming across okay? Am I saying everything I should? Am I saying things, the fear that I'm going to say something that I can do that I can't. I just can, oh yeah, I can do that. No, you can't. So yeah, I think that's for me a big part of running a business that I find a little bit daunting,
bit difficult. What are some tips? So if you someone's watching this now and they're thinking, right, I want to work for myself, I want to be an entrepreneur, what kind of tips would you give your past self, I suppose, in a way, or this imaginary person? What tips would you give them for creating a dream business, like the business they want to do? My tip would be systems. I think if you've got a system, it smooths everything. So I have like an onboarding system with my clients and an offboarding system, and it just keeps everything smooth, and then I can use my brain power on the actual design. But what about you, Danny? What tip would you give somebody that's looking to be an entrepreneur, that's thinking, I want to start my dream business? Is there any tips you'd give them?
I think don't be afraid to ask for help, and look at people that have done something similar to what you want to do, not necessarily exactly the same, but look at people that are in kind of the field and that have built a business already. Don't take advice from your family and friends that have never had a business. Look to people who actually know a little bit more than you. Don't be afraid to ask for help and learn from them, because most people are happy to try and help you and share their experience, so you're going to learn quicker. So that would be one thing. And the other thing I would say is just be realistic with your expectations, or try to be, because it's really hard. But it is going to be probably more challenging at times than you would like it to be, and maybe would think it would be. And you're not going to be good at everything, because none of us are. So work on the things that you're good at, try and prioritize your time in those, and where you can, outsource or get help with the things that you're maybe not so good at, because otherwise you're spending a lot of time doing those things that you're maybe not enjoying. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs lose the passion and enjoyment, because you're actually not spending the time doing what you want to be doing. You're spending the time doing the accounts or the social media or whatever it is that needs doing.
What about you, Laura?
Well, both of what you said sort of resonates as well. And I think a little bit going off what you said, Laura, with the processes, that I found one of the things is having sort of baseline prices for everything. And I know, especially like what I do, it's quite hard sometimes. You can't always have a set price, because the brief changes, like clients want different things. But having a baseline, like I charge like X amount for a 3-page website, for example, and I know that in my head, and I have that set. I think that made a big difference for me, because I could be really clear when the terrifying sales calls. At least I was like, well, this is my baseline, it's going to be this. And you're not feeling like you're plucking a number out of the air, and you can feel confident in what you're offering. And it makes the conversations easier if you're really clear on what you're offering and what you do. I think that makes a huge difference. And
clear
you have to be, you don't have to be like scared of it, and it's easier to just tell people, because I know that's half the thing, isn't it, when we're quoting for work, and you say the processes, if they're set, it's easy for you to say, well, this is how it is, this is my process, this is my price. If you don't have those sort of set in your own mind, then that's when people come in and they're like, well, I want you to do it this way, and I only want to pay this, and you get a bit kind of lost, and perhaps say yes to things you shouldn't be saying yes to.
So confidence, you're saying then, Danny, how do you keep your confidence up even when you're kind of just starting?
Yeah, I think it's really important to remind yourself of what you do know, because very often we start to think, oh, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. So remind yourself of what you do know and what you've done before. And when you're doing something new, it's natural that you're not going to maybe feel confident. And the best way of getting more confident is to do it, to get practice at it. And it might not always go right the first few times. You might have a few sales calls that you don't close, or that you think, oh my God, I messed up, or I sound like an idiot. Okay, that's fine. But rather than like dwelling on that, then just take the learning. It's that whole feedback thing. Learn from the experience, and then allow yourself to move forward with it, rather than then thinking that there's something wrong with you, or that you're not actually good enough to do it. It's just that you haven't done it before. It's experience. And I think things like pricing, practice saying it out loud, practice saying it to someone, that like a friend or a family member, so that you build up your confidence. Because if you don't believe that it's worth that price, then other people are not going to believe that it's worth it either. So you don't want to be in a sales call going, okay, so that's going to be £300, and and then if you sound like you're not confident that price is the right price, people are going to doubt whether it is. So
it's the question at the end. It was the question mark when you said that. It was like, are you sure? Is 300? Yeah, it's that, isn't it? Oh, I need Danny before I've got a sales call. I need a bit of prep talk off Danny.
Could you just go and do mine?
Yeah, but it's so much easier to do it for someone else. That's the funny thing, right? Because we're attached to ourselves. So we feel if someone says no to us in our business, especially if it's a service-based business, you feel like they're saying no to you and somehow rejecting you. And I think just remembering that your business is your business. Yes, it's kind of an extension of you, but it's not you and it's not your baby. It's something that you do ultimately to make money. Otherwise it's not a business, it's a charity. And that's okay. But that it's a skill set that you're selling. You're not selling yourself. So whether someone says yes or no, that doesn't have anything to do with your value as a person. And I think very often we can forget that and think, oh God, like I didn't make enough money, therefore that means I'm a certain type of person, or I'm not as valuable, or I'm not contributing enough, etc., etc.
Yeah, that is a big thing. Like getting your mindset, and especially around money, is huge. And it's an ongoing process as well, especially for me. It's an ongoing process because you do start wondering if actually what you create, you do start, the mind monkeys, as I call them, start going off, and they're like, well, actually, I don't think I'm worth that, or I think a child could do that, or yeah. So having that confidence is huge, isn't it? So, but yeah, I did like the question mark at the end of the pricing. I've done that. I've been there and done that one before. And like you say, not had confidence in delivering it and talking about money. I don't know is it a British thing that we don't do it, that we don't talk about money? And nobody, it is, isn't it? And I think it's terrible because I've got some friends that are American and they just talk about it, and it's confident, and this is how much it is, and this is how much I pay for it, and it's like,
and that's what we said earlier, isn't it, about not wanting to say money is your goal and your dream. What's your dream? It's like, well, I can't say it's money. Like it's a funny thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually, for most people, money isn't the dream, right? It is what money allows you to do. It's the travel, it's the being able to buy the house that you love, that you can spend time with your family. It's whatever it is. So for most people, it isn't actually money, but money is the tool, and money is what we get as an exchange for the service that we provide. And if you're not focused on that, then that creates a big issue, because then you're not going to make the money in your business. And without money in a business, businesses can't grow and can't do what they're set out to do. You can't provide the service for your clients if you're not there, because you're not making any money, and you end up having to go into employment to pay the bills. So there's nothing wrong with that. But you're right, I think it is a British thing, and I think we hold a lot of values around money that we tend to pick up from people like our parents. So I grew up hearing, money doesn't grow on trees, or lots of things like that. So and being told things like you shouldn't ask for things, you should wait to be asked. So it took me a long time to feel comfortable to ask for things, and to just be able to say to someone, I've got this really great product, are you interested in it? Was like, oh no, I can't do that. I've got to wait for them to ask me that they're interested, because otherwise it's rude. And it's like, well, you're not going to make much business that way, are you?
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. You've got to try and get these things out of your mind. Like you say, you don't ask for things, but actually you've got to. Yeah. And I think this year I've definitely learnt more to do that in my business, is to actually, you don't ask, you don't get. That's just... Yeah, it's I think this year my growth in my business has been quite big, but it's been more my mental growth rather than money. But yeah. So yeah, I think dream businesses, I think living the dream, actually being part of it. I think we're all getting there, aren't we? We're all, none of us have chucked the rag in and gone back to work and gone back and found a 9-to-5 job. We're all still here. We're all still digging away at it. And I think it's an ongoing dream, isn't it? It's evolving and ongoing.
And the dream might just be not to be in employment. Like, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I know I've got friends that left college and went, and they're still at the same places that they for the last 20 odd years. And that's fine. That's how they live their life, and they do it their way. And I know they look at me sometimes and think, why don't you just get a job? It's like, but I don't want to live my life that way. So if I could go and get a job, and I could potentially be quite miserable because that's the restrictions that I don't like living by. So yeah, sometimes the dream is just not having to play by the rules, work rules.
And also, I think, you know, life isn't going to be a dream all the time. That's the other thing. You have the dream, you have the vision, and you could have your dream business, but there will be times where it still will feel hard and challenging and things won't go to plan, because we're humans and that's part of our existence. So, and even when you have the dream, there'll be parts of your ego and your mindset that will pop up and go, well, should I be doing something more? Or should, you know, like there's, so it's not, I don't think it's a case of that, like you say, it's not a destination. We're not going to get there one day and go, right, I've achieved the dream. It's like we're working towards creating more the lifestyle that we want and having the business that suits us and provides us with what we need while we're doing something that we enjoy, in whatever way that looks like. But there's going to be the ups and downs that come with that, because, you know, I doubt there are many people in the world that could sit there and go, yes, every day is a dream and I never have any challenges, you know. If there are, good for them, but
yeah,
there's not many of them.
Let's get them on this call.
Yeah, I can't think of any. The Rock. Maybe The Rock. That's about it. That's about all I can think of.